All right, here we go. Last video, I showed you the architecture, the 6 things that separate a tool from an operating system. Today, I'm going inside the most important component of all, the one that turns your AI from a rental into an asset, the context engine. But first, I need to tell you something uncomfortable. Every time your team uses ChatGPT, Claude, or any AI tool, they're doing something that would get a CFO fired if it happened with financial data. They're giving away your company's most valuable asset for free to your competitors' training data. I'm Jason Baxter, and this one is going to change how you think about data forever. Your intelligence is leaking. Let me paint you a picture. It's Tuesday afternoon. Your marketing team spends 2 hours with Claude. They test 14 different angles for a product launch. They refine your brand voice. They figure out exactly which emotional triggers resonate with your audience. They discover that combining a specific pain point with a specific social proof format increases response rates. Brilliant work. 2 hours of proprietary intelligence. Then they close the tab. Where did all of that go? Into Anthropic's servers, not yours. Every insight, every failed angle that taught them what doesn't work, every refinement that moved the needle, gone. Now, your sales lead opens ChatGPT, spends 45 minutes analyzing a competitor's pricing strategy, maps out their strengths, their weaknesses, where they're vulnerable, develops a counter-positioning framework that's specific to your market. Close the tab. That intelligence is now on OpenAI's servers. Meanwhile, and this is the part that should keep you up at night, Meta just bought Moltbook, a social network with 3 million AI agents. Amazon got a court order to block Perplexity's AI shopping agent. The biggest companies in the world are fighting over agent infrastructure right now. And your company's intelligence is scattered across their servers, being used to train the models your competitors will use against you. Read the terms of service. I'll wait. Most companies haven't. The ones that have are the ones building what I'm about to show you. Here's your first aha moment. You're not using AI tools. AI tools are using you. Every conversation, every insight, every strategic decision you feed into someone else's system makes their model smarter. For everyone, including the company trying to take your customers. Your intelligence isn't an input, it's an asset, and you're giving it away. The funnel with holes. Now zoom out and look at the full picture. Think of your company's knowledge as a funnel. At the top, everything your team does every day. Conversations with customers, strategic decisions, market analysis, deal negotiations, product feedback, operational insights. In a typical setup, this funnel has holes everywhere. Claude conversations disappear when the session ends. ChatGPT history lives on someone else's server. Cursor context sits on one developer's laptop. Zapier automation logs go into a void. Your CRM has structured data, but none of the reasoning behind it. Your email has the reasoning, but none of the structure. Every hole in that funnel is proprietary intelligence leaking out of your company. A recent Veracode study found that AI-generated code carries 2.74 times more security vulnerabilities than human-written code. Why? Because the AI doesn't have context. It doesn't know your security requirements. It doesn't remember the vulnerability it introduced last month. It doesn't connect the code it's writing today to the architecture decisions your team made 6 months ago. The tool is smart, but without context, smart is dangerous. Here's your second aha moment. The funnel isn't just leaking intelligence, it's leaking the connections between intelligence. A pricing insight in isolation is useful. A pricing insight connected to customer feedback, competitor analysis, and deal outcomes is a strategic weapon. But those connections only exist if everything flows through one system. Right now, they don't. How the context engine actually works. So what does it look like when you fix this? Let me take you inside the context engine. 3 layers, and each one does something that nothing else on the market does. Layer 1, unified capture. Every interaction across your entire team gets logged in the same format, with the same structure, in the same database. When Sarah in marketing has a conversation about positioning, captured. When a background agent processes 200 leads at 3 a.m., every decision it made is captured. When someone corrects an AI output, that correction is captured. But here's what makes this different from just logging everything. The system doesn't store raw transcripts. It extracts intelligence. From every conversation, it pulls out facts, decisions, observations, and instructions separately. A single 30-minute conversation might produce 8 facts, 3 decisions, 2 observations, and 1 instruction. Each one gets stored as its own searchable entity. Each one gets embedded as a vector, meaning you can search by meaning, not keywords. What do we know about enterprise pricing resistance? Finds everything relevant, even if nobody ever used those exact words. Layer 2, semantic connection. This is where it gets powerful. The engine doesn't just store knowledge, it connects it. Remember that pricing conversation from marketing? The engine automatically links it to the customer feedback from support about being too expensive, and to the competitor analysis that showed their pricing is 20% lower in the mid-market, and to the 3 deals your sales team lost last quarter where pricing was cited as the reason. Nobody tagged these. Nobody created a link. The system understood the semantic relationship and connected them automatically. Different departments, different weeks, different tools, same underlying topic. Layer 3, the compound effect. Every new piece of context makes the entire system smarter. Not linearly, exponentially, because every new piece of knowledge creates new connections to everything that already exists. Day 1, you have individual facts. Day 30, you have clusters. Patterns start emerging that nobody explicitly taught the system. Day 90, you have a knowledge graph that spans your entire operation. The system makes recommendations that feel like they came from someone who's been at your company for 10 years. Day 180, you have institutional knowledge that would take a new hire years to develop. Here's your third aha moment. A context engine isn't a database. It's a nervous system for your business intelligence. Databases store records. A context engine creates understanding. And understanding is what turns data into decisions. AI-driven schema mapping. Now here's the technical breakthrough that makes all of this possible. And it's the thing that separates what we built from every other knowledge management system. Your business runs on messy data. Your CRM has one schema. Your email has another. Your project management tool uses different fields. Your accounting software speaks a different language entirely. Slack messages have no schema at all. Most integration tools handle this by making you manually map fields. This field in Salesforce maps to this field in HubSpot. It works until your schemas change, until you add a new tool, until someone creates a custom field that doesn't exist in the other system. Manual mapping is fragile, expensive, and always out of date. The context engine uses AI-driven schema mapping. When data comes in from any source, any format, any structure, any language, the system's AI layer analyzes it, understands what it represents, and automatically normalizes it into the unified schema. Not by matching field names, by understanding meaning. A deal value in Salesforce, a contract amount in your legal system, and a revenue estimate in your forecasting spreadsheet aren't just mapped to the same field. They're understood as referring to the same underlying concept, with the nuances preserved. The legal amounts might include contingencies. The forecast might include probability weighting. The system knows the difference. When you add a new tool, a new CRM, a new communication platform, a new data source, it doesn't require weeks of integration work. The AI analyzes the schema, proposes the mapping, and starts normalizing within hours. Not months, hours. Here's your fourth aha moment. The reason most companies can't unify their data isn't technical, it's architectural. They're trying to connect rigid schemas with rigid mappings. That breaks every time something changes. AI-driven schema mapping is flexible by design. It adapts as your tools evolve. That's why we can connect to hundreds of sources, while most platforms max out at a dozen. The train your own model endgame. Now let me show you where all of this leads, because the context engine isn't the destination. It's the launch pad. When all of your team's intelligence, every human interaction, every agent output, every decision, every correction, every outcome lives in one clean, structured, unified system, you unlock the actual endgame. You can train your own model. Yes, your own model. Not fine-tune GPT with a handful of examples. I mean a model that understands your business the way a 10-year veteran employee does. Because that's exactly what you've accumulated. The equivalent of having your most experienced person sit in on every meeting, read every document, observe every decision, and remember all of it. Think about what that model knows. It knows your products, not from a spec sheet, but from thousands of real conversations about them. It knows your customers, not from a CRM field, but from how your team actually talks about them. What makes them buy, what makes them leave. It knows your voice, your positioning, your negotiation patterns, what works, what doesn't, and it knows because it saw the outcomes. This is institutional knowledge captured as a model that is yours, that runs on your infrastructure, that never shares your data with anyone, that gets smarter with every interaction your team has. Right now, every company is renting intelligence from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. The model you rent today is the same model your competitor rents tomorrow. No advantage, no differentiation, a commodity. But a model trained on your company's accumulated knowledge, that's an asset that appreciates. Every day it runs, it gets more valuable. Every interaction adds data. Every decision adds wisdom. And nobody can replicate it. Here's your fifth aha moment. The AI model wars are a distraction. GPT-5 versus Claude versus Gemini, it doesn't matter. They're all commodities. The real competition is who builds the best training data. And the best training data comes from the best context engine. The company that captures everything, connects everything, and compounds everything wins. Not because they have better AI, because they have better data. And data is the new oil only if you own the refinery. The clock is ticking. Let me leave you with something that should create urgency. Because this isn't theoretical. The clock really is ticking. Every day, your team uses scattered AI tools without a unified context engine. Three things happen. 1. Intelligence leaks out of your company and into someone else's training data. 2. The connections between insights that would compound into strategic advantage evaporate between sessions. 3. Your competitor who does have a context engine gets one day smarter while you stay exactly where you are. This is a compounding problem. And compounding works in both directions. The company that starts capturing context today has a 6-month head start that the company that starts in 6 months can never close. Because the knowledge that accumulates in months 1 through 6 feeds into the insights of months 7 through 12. You can't skip ahead. You can't catch up by throwing money at it. Compounding doesn't wait. Meta just spent millions acquiring Maltbook, a platform for AI agents to talk to each other. Amazon is fighting in court over AI shopping agents. The biggest companies in the world see what's coming. They're acquiring the infrastructure. The question is, are you building yours? The companies that build their context engine now, this quarter, are building a moat that widens every day. The companies that wait are funding their competitors' advantage with every ChatGPT conversation their team has. Here's your final aha moment. You don't have a data problem. You have a capture problem. The data exists. Your team generates it every single day. The question is, does it flow through your funnel or does it leak through the holes? Fix the funnel, capture everything, connect everything, and start compounding. Next video, I'm going to show you what happens when you actually build this. 3 real ages, real output, real results, and the kind of work that makes people stop and say, wait, an agent did that? Subscribe, hit the bell, because that one is going to change what you think is possible. I'll see you in the next one.